With the new James Bond game fast approaching and rumours swirling as to who will take up the mantle in Bond 26, I want to take a look at a recent performance that kind of provides an accidental screen test as to who will be in the new era of James Bond. Today, I'm going to break down why Eternity showcases Callum Turner's potential as the next James Bond, and how Miles Teller could be the perfect modern Felix Leiter. Hi, I'm Rory, welcome to my channel where we talk about all the weird and wonderful nonsense in film and TV. Let's get into it. Let's assume Bond 26 is going to be a grounded espionage thriller set in the modern day, but hoping for a little bit more gadget action. My guess is it will be a less trauma-heavy Bond, with more of a return to his roots as that fun yet dangerous character that we love. As I mentioned, there's been a new actor rumoured to be playing 007, Callum Turner. If I'm honest, I haven't seen him in a whole lot, but I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever, because if you look back at the previous 007s, they were never particularly well established before they were cast in the role. I actually rather like that, particularly in this day and age, because I think there's an argument to be made that we're seeing a lot of the same actors in films these days. So, Callum Turner certainly looks the part. He's tall, handsome, athletic. He has that classic polished English look that Bond really benefits from. But more than that, he's a great actor. I've watched him in Masters of the Air and the recent film Eternity, which is what gave me the inspiration for this video. But just to touch on Masters in the Air, it places Turner in the military setting where he plays a senior pilot who leads through actions and words. His character is confident, he has a charm and a swagger about him, as well as emotional depth. Those qualities are very Bond-like. All you have to do is swap senior pilots for the commander in the Royal Navy. I feel like he has that smooth charm of the Brosnan Bond with that hidden, cold ruthlessness that Dalton and Craig brought to the role. And damn, he looks good in a tuxedo. Eternity was released on the 5th of December this year in the UK. It's a story about a couple, Larry and Joan, who find themselves in the afterlife after 65 years of wonderful marriage, only to discover that Joan's first husband, Luke, has been waiting there for 67 years after he died in the Korean War. What plays out is a hilarious and thought-provoking journey about love and the what-ifs in life, where Joan is confronted by a what-if so terrifying that it would have changed her life. Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen and Callum Turner are fantastic in this film. They have this amazing chemistry together and provide a real heart. Honestly, it's one of my top 5 films of this year. If you get a chance to see it in the cinemas before it leaves, please go do it. You may be thinking, cool, Rory, this film seems really nice, but what does this have to do with James Bond? Well, let me show you. We've established why Callum Turner would be a fantastic James Bond. I actually had this in mind when I was going to watch the film to sort of stress test how he would be in the role. It really helps the fact that the first time he appears on screen he's wearing a bow tie. Turner plays Luke as a cool, charismatic guy who, when compared to Larry, seems like the more obvious choice for a partner, like James Bond. He, and I hate to use this word, alphas Larry. He's the top dog, like Bond, but as the film continues on, you see that there's more depth to him. Everyone constantly refers to him as perfect throughout the film. It's a bit of a running joke. But he has his flaws. While on the surface to everyone else, they look fine, for him, they're crippling. And whilst we don't want James Bond to be worrying about his hair going grey, I was just quite taken by Turner's believability to show these silly, human insecurities. Now, Miles Teller I'm much more familiar with as an actor. I've seen him in what I think is his greatest film, in Whiplash. I've seen him in Top Gun Maverick, which is my favourite film. And I've also seen him in Fantastic Four, which is no one's greatest or favourite film. The thing is, he's really engaging to watch and has this everyman charm to him. Even when he's playing one of the best pilots in the US Navy in Rooster, he still makes him feel grounded and real. Whether it's moments of downtime in the bar or conflicts with other pilot, Teller has a contemporary, slightly imperfect yet magnetic on-screen personality. I think this film is a great chemistry read for the two of them. It shows that they're capable of arguing, hanging out, and eventually coming to respect each other. In my eyes, Leiter is as close to a best mate as Bond gets in his world. Someone who would always have his back no matter what. They definitely did well in the Craig eras, where they managed to keep the actors consistent. And another example would probably be Dalton and Hedison in Licence to Kill, where they really do feel like friends when they're on screen together. That said, the Bond-Leiter relationship, in my eyes, has never been done as well on film as it has in my head. I think there's 2 reasons for it. Consistency in the films and changing the actors. Something that the previous Bond films have done really well is establishing Bond's relationship with his supporting cast. Bond and M. Prior to GoldenEye, M primarily gave Bond his missions, scolded him for being rash, but ultimately respected his abilities. During the Brosnan tenure, Judi Dench's M had to earn Bond's respect as being a woman in a senior role. By the Craig era, the relationship evolved from begrudging senior subordinate tension to a deepening, almost friend-like bond. Well, that's my interpretation of Skyfall anyway. Bond and Q. Perhaps the best established relationship, Desmond Llewellyn gave Q this cantankerous brilliance, always frustrated with Bond's fiddling, but you always got the sense that Bond made Q's work meaningful. Bond and Moneypenny. Their witty and flirty back and forth is well established. Whilst toned down in the Craig era, it'd be nice to see a return to that playful banter, just some harmless flirting with that knowing wink. Bond and Leiter. This is where the consistency falters. Leiter is supposed to be Bond's close friend, yet in the Craig films, he appears in 3, but with varying degrees of significance. Casino Royale establishes him as a reliable ally, but in Quantum of Solace, his role is reduced to the point of a nameless CIA agent. No Time to Die sees them brought back together, which is great. Daniel Craig and Jeffrey Wright have great chemistry together, but their friendship never feels earned just because the connections beforehand were so underused. By contrast, in License to Kill, Dalton and Hedison show how strong this bond can be. It's established from the start because James is Felix's best man and his wedding day mission partner, and it makes the vengeance throughout the rest of the film truly believable. The issue here is Hedison last played the role many films before in Live and Let Die. Considering Bond 26 is a ground-up reboot, I think it's important to consider the time period that it's set in. Personally, I'd like to see them take James Bond back to the 60s, where times were simpler. You know, not everything fit on the smartphone, and he has to bring 5 incredibly specific, bulky gadgets to use on his missions. But at the same time, I also appreciate most of the Bond films are loosely set in the time period that they are filmed in. Bond 26 has this unique opportunity to learn from the strengths and the mistakes of the Craig era and combine them with the highlights of the Eon films from the 20th century. Regardless if it's set in the 60s or the modern day, if you want Bond to be equal parts stylish, charming, and dangerous, then I think Callum Turner really fits the tux. What would be really great is to see a proper development of the Bond-Leiter friendship, and I think few could do it better than Miles Teller. Tying it back to Eternity, the dynamic between Luke and Larry really showcases Turner's natural leadership and Teller's grounded charm, the exact qualities that you'd want from Bond and Leiter. Anyway, what do you think? Could Turner and Teller be a great Bond and Leiter? Drop your thoughts below. Thank you for watching. Go well.